Alright, so today we're going to discuss fractions. We're going to talk about what they are and what they look like, and then we're going to look at a word problem involving fractions, and we're going to solve it using two different models. So first of all, what's a fraction? Well, a fraction is something that is cut up into parts of a whole, okay? So here we have two pictures that aren't just a whole, but they're parts of a whole, okay? So here you see that we have 4 parts, and here we have 6 parts. So it doesn't matter how many parts you have, but it does matter that they're, into parts, and it does matter that they're equal parts, okay? Here we see that this image is cut into parts, just like this one is cut into parts. But this one has equal parts, as you can see, and this one does not have equal parts. They're all sorts of different sizes. So this one is representing a fraction because it's cut into equal parts, and this one is not representing a fraction because it is not cut into equal parts. Okay? So here is a whole versus a fraction. Here's a whole pie. Okay? And here's a fractioned pie because it is cut into 4 equal parts. Okay? Now we can look at fractions with pictures, but we can also look at fractions using numbers. Okay? So here we have our fractions as numbers. This says 1/2. Okay? And this says 2/3. Now why do we have a 1 over a 2 here? And why do we have a 2 over a 3? Well, the bottom number in a fraction is called a denominator. And denominators tell us how many parts our whole is cut into, okay? So here our denominator tells us that our whole is cut into 2 parts, and we can see 1, 2. 2 equal parts. For this one, our denominator is 3, so we know that this image is cut into 3 equal parts, okay? Now, the top number is called the numerator. The numerator tells us how many parts of the whole we're specifically taking a look at. So here we have a 1 in our numerator place, so we know that we are looking at 1 part of the whole, or 1/2. Okay? For this one, we have a 2 in the numerator spot because we are taking a look at 2 parts of the whole. Okay? Awesome. So now we're going to look at a word problem involving fractions, and we're going to solve it using two different models. So here's our word problem. Jake bought a pack of 24 paper clips. He wants to share the paper clips equally with his 5 friends. What fraction of the paper clips will Jake be sharing with his friends? Okay, so that's our word problem. We know that a pack of 24 paper clips is what we're going to be dealing with, and we're going to be splitting those 24 paper clips equally between 6 friends. 5 friends plus Jake gives us 6 people. Okay, so we're going to equally share those 24 paper clips. So the first model we're going to take a look at to solve this problem and finding what fraction of the paper clips that Jake is sharing with his friends, we're going to use a set model. Okay, a set model is groups with equal amounts. Okay, so since we're sharing the paper clips between 6 people, we have 6 different sets. Okay, so I went ahead and wrote Jake for one set, friend 1, friend 2, friend 3, friend 4, friend 5. Okay, so now what we're going to do is divide the 24 paper clips into 6 groups equally. So we can go one by one and set the paper clips out in the groups, or we can take a shortcut and use division. We can divide 24 paper clips by 6 friends. So 24 divided by 6, we know gives us 4, because 6 groups of 4 gives us 24. Alright, so 6 groups of 4 will give us 24, or the total amount of paper clips that we started with. So, by using division, in our head we found that 4 paper clips per friend will divide the paper clips out equally. Okay, and that's what we want. With the set model, we want to have our groups with an equal amount in each. Okay, so each friend now has each friend now has 4 paper clips. Alright, so what do we do next? Well, now we need to find the fractions, okay? So, we know that, remember we talked about fractions have a numerator and a denominator. The denominator tells us how many parts of a whole we're looking at. So, how many parts of the whole are we looking at here? Okay. Well, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6 sets or 6 parts that we're dealing with here, okay? So, we know that our denominator or bottom number telling us how many parts we're looking at is going to be 6. Alright, now we need to figure out the numerator. Okay, so the numerator that we're looking for is how many parts we're looking at, okay? The denominator tells us how many parts are in the whole, which is 6, because we have 6 friends that we're dealing with. And now we need to look at how many friends Jake is sharing with, okay? So because we're looking at what fraction of the paper clips will Jake be sharing with his friends. So because we're dealing with how many friends Jake is sharing with, then we know we're not going to be talking about Jake right now. We're just going to be talking about his friends. So, if we're looking at one person, if we're looking at just Jake, then that is one part that we're looking at specifically. So, we're going to put a 1 on top for our numerator because that's what we're looking at specifically. And then we have 6 parts. 6 sets, okay? So then that's what we would put for our denominator. But we're not looking at just one friend. We're looking at all the friends that Jake is sharing with, okay? So if 1/6 gives us one friend, then how many sixths will we have when we're looking at 5 friends? Okay, well let's see. 1/6 plus 1/6, that's 2 friends. We need 5 friends. 1/6, 1/6 plus 1/6. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we know that 1/6 represents one friend, and we are trying to find what fraction Jake shared with his friends, and we have 5 friends that we're sharing with. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 5 1/6. Okay. So now, when we're adding fractions with common denominators, then we know that the denominator is going to stay the same. So we're still going to be looking at 6 parts, okay? But now we need to see how many parts total added up, okay? So 1 plus 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3, plus 1 is 4, plus 1 gives us 5. Now we know that 5/6 of the paper clips will be going to Jake's friends. We also know that since 1/6 is how much parts of the whole per one person, we know that Jake makes up 1/6, okay? So the 5 friends we're sharing with, plus Jake himself that got some as well, we know that 5 plus 1 gives us 6 over 6. And when you have 6 parts that you're looking at out of 6 parts that you have, you know that you have one whole, okay? And when you look at the whole, you know that you're looking at everything you have here, okay? So Jake represented 1/6, one group, and we know that the 5 friends made up the rest, which gave us 5/6, okay? And that's what we were looking for. We were looking for the fraction of the paper clips that Jake will be sharing with his friends, which was 5/6. Okay, now the next model that we're going to take a look at is the area model. The area model is equal parts filled with the same amount, okay? So here we have a rectangle that is cut up into 6 equal parts because we are sharing 24 paper clips with 6 different friends, okay? So, like we said earlier, we can take the total amount that we're looking at, the 24 paper clips, and divide it by the total number of friends that we're sharing with, which is 6, and that will tell us how many pieces of paper clips will go to each person, which we found was 4. So 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, and 4. Okay, 4 paper clips per friend. Okay, and we also found that since we are looking at 6 parts, that's what our denominator is going to be, 6, because that's how many parts your whole is cut into. Alright, now your numerator is how many parts you're looking at specifically out of the whole. Okay, so if we're looking at 1 here, we're looking at 1 part out of the 6 parts total. Okay, so this is going to be 1/6, this is going to be 1/6, and so on. Each friend is 1/6 of the whole. Okay, so now we're going to shade in the amount of paper clips that Jake is sharing with his friends. Okay, so say this is Jake and the other 5 boxes are his friends. We're going to shade in the parts that are for the friends because our problem was asking us to find the fraction of paper clips that Jake is sharing with his friends. Okay, so we're not looking at how many Jake is keeping for himself. We're looking at how many the friends only will be getting. Okay, so we know that 1/6 will not be counted because that is Jake's, and we're only looking at the amount that is being used by the friends. Okay, so if 1/6 goes to each of the 5 friends, then like we did earlier, we can take 1/6 for each friend, which is 5, write it out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1/6, and then we can add, just like we did a while ago. When we're adding with common denominators, the denominator will stay the same because we're not changing the amount of parts we're looking at, okay? So it'll be 6. Then when we add the parts we're looking at, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we're looking at those 5 out of 6 parts, then we know 5/6 is the fraction of paper clips that Jake will be sharing with his friends.